السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, in our Fajr Tafsir, we have reached verse number 84 in Surah al-Baqarah. To give you a quick kind of overview of what has been covered so far. So, Surah Baqarah started with dividing the humanity into three categories of believers, disbelievers, and hypocrites. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explained what does it take to be of those true believers and to end up in Jannah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the creation of humanity with Adam alayhi salam and his story. And then after that, talking about Bani Israel. For the last about 40 verses, Allah has been talking about Bani Israel, that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first saved them from all that slavery and all the torture of Fir'aun and other people. And then after they came to the desert of Sinai, passing the sea, then what kind of favors Allah bestowed on them there, and how ungrateful they were to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of His favors, and what kind of demands they were making, and how Allah took care of all their needs in so many ways. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the different opportunities that Allah gave them to enter other lands and take the message of Islam, but instead they went in as invaders and they killed many people and they tortured and other things, instead of taking the message of rahmah and mercy to them and bring them to Islam, to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been talking about the covenants that Allah made with them and how they have been breaking the covenants one after the other. And in terms of covenants, Allah divided the Bani Israel into two groups. The group of scholars and leaders, and then the masses. The group of scholars and masses, how they try to misinterpret the teachings of Allah and even change the word of Allah and distort the message of Allah for their worldly conveniences and benefits, and what kind of basically khiyana and trade they did to the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the masses, how the masses have been living based on fancies and false hopes and following blindly these scholars and leaders who have been changing things, and they do not question it and they just follow blindly. The last verse in 83, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically talk about another covenant that Allah took from the children of Israel, not to worship anybody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be kind to parents, to orphans, and to needy people, and to relatives, and in general talk in a nice way, but also establish the prayers and establish the zakat. But most of them avoided that and kept away. Now in this verse 84, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about another covenant that Allah took from Bani Israel. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَلَا تُخْرِجُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ مِنْ دِيَارِكُمْ ثُمَّ أَقْرَرْتُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَشْهَدُونَ. Allah says, remember that when we made another covenant or a mithaq, a promise, establishment with you, that you will not shed any kind of blood. Allah said, do not shed any kind of blood, do not kill each other, do not kick each other out of their houses. But, and you, وَأَقْرَرْتُمْ ثُمَّ أَقْرَرْتُمْ, and you confirmed it, and you were a witness of such a testimony that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Musa alayhi salam took from this Bani Israel, that you're not going to do any of this. You're not going to kill each other. You're not going to kick out each other from their houses. But then what did you do? ثُمَّ أَنْتُمْ هَؤُلَاءِ تَقْتُلُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. But then you guys started killing each other. وَتُخْرِجُونَ فَرِيقًا مِّنْكُمْ مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ. And you kicked out each other from their houses. تَظَاهَرُونَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. And you established alliances with each other against other Jews, against other groups of Jews. And you went on these alliances against certain groups and showing animosity. بِالْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, on the basis of all sins and wrong things. وَإِنْ يَأْتُوكُمْ أُسْرًا تُفَادُوهُمْ. And when you wanted to get back some of your, asirs, some of those captives, take back, then what did you do? You gave ransom to get some of them. You killed each other, you fought each other, and you were divided and went against each other. And after doing all of these things, then you give the fidya to get your captives back. On one hand, Allah said, do not do this. Do not divide and do not kill and do not attack each other. You did all of that, but then when it comes to getting back your captives, then you follow the book. So, the book says that I have to give fidya I have to give ransom to get one of my captives. Allah says, what? أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْدِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْدِ. You believe in one part of the book and then you reject the other part of the book. You believe one part of the teachings that I have given you, that not fight against this, not divide and not kill each other. You do all of that, but then when it comes to getting your captives, then you say, the book says this, let me follow the book and give the ransom. فما جزاء من يفعل ذلك منكم إلا خزي في الحياة الدنيا ويوم القيامة يردون إلى أشد العذاب. Such people who do such things, that they believe in one part of the book and then they disbelieve in another part of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for them there will be humiliation in the life of this world, and in the day of judgment they will be driven towards the very severe punishment. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And you better understand that Allah is not unaware. Allah is not heedless of what you do. Allah takes track of everything that you're doing. This is very interesting phenomena that Allah talks about Bani Israel, that how they, took certain parts of the book and disbelieved it and rejected it, and then how they followed some other parts. Whichever parts of the book that was beneficial for them for worldly purposes, they followed. And whichever parts of the book that required some sacrifice, required some extra obedience, then they said, no. Allah says about these people, أُولَئِكَ الَّذِينَ اشْتَرَوُا الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا بِالْآخِرَةِ. These people have purchased the worldly life over akhirah. They have given priority for this life at the price of losing their akhirah. فَلَا يُخَفَّفُ عَنْهُمُ الْعَذَابُ وَلَا هُمْ يُنْصَرُونَ. Their punishment will not be reduced in the day of judgment, and they will not be helped. When we read these teachings about Bani Israel, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave these teachings of Bani Israel to us with so much details? One of the objectives is first for Jews to tell them that, hey, you had all this bad history, but now we have an opportunity, come back. So it was meant for them to bring them back to Islam and help them to return from all this. Second, for Muslims to understand that how they can deviate from the path and how, look at the people of history, look at these Jews and Bani Israel, that what did they do? And you guys, you better do not do that. But unfortunately, today, we see those things that the Bani Israel did, it's happening in Muslim world. Allah said, do not kill each other. Do not fight with each other. Do not invade each other. And do not kick each other out of their houses. You see in so many Muslim countries, especially their governments, they are doing all of this. And Allah says, do not establish alliances against each other. And you see Muslim countries and governments, they establish alliances even with non-Muslims to attack a Muslim country. And they go and give everything, airplanes, soldiers, everything to attack a Muslim country. And then, what do they do? Oh, now it's time to reconstruction. Let us do some reconstruction. Let's now put some funds. Then they go and put funds also to reconstruct the same country that they invaded. And they destroyed the country. And they killed so many people. Then when it comes to reconstruction, yeah, we are with you. Let's put money in. Wait a minute. Just the same thing that Bani Israel, they were not allowed to fight each other. They were not allowed to establish alliances against each other. But then when it comes to, getting their captives back, then they say, oh, now we follow the book. So now it's time reconstruction of this country. We are also with you. Well, you attack them also. You join them in attacking and killing them and destroying that country. Now we are saying, okay, now we're going to rebuild it. So why you did it in the beginning? Why? Because these people, they're only worried about this worldly life, their powers, and even masses of Muslims joining them, going as soldiers and going to different countries, killing, fighting, and listening to their governments and doing all those things, and just like Bani Israel did. Unfortunately, these days it's happening to Muslims also, that Allah warned us not to follow their path, but we're following. And different countries, you see that based on just salaries and money, all these masses of people go and join the invaders and support them and help them and do everything against their own people, against their own countries. And then they, say that, oh, now we follow this. Allah says, why you do that? You better realize that what you are doing and reflect on it. And understand that, you're purchasing the conveniences of this world and the money and salary and this world over your next world. How could you do that? So it's very dangerous and very sad that it's happening among Muslims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us and help us to not to repeat these kind of things in the future, and help us to stay away from such alliances against each other, against Muslims. Ya Allah, help us to learn from these stories of Bani Israel, and Ya Allah, save the Ummah of Islam from following them. Ya Allah, help this Ummah of Islam to stand for truth. Everyone, the scholars, the masses, everybody, and defend the truth, and stand for justice, and stand for excellence, and stand for peace. Ya Allah, help all of us, each one of us, to stand for the truth in this world, Ya Allah, in all aspects of our lives. Ya Allah, forgive us for any shortcomings and any sins and any mistakes that any of us has done. Ya Allah, help us to share this message with our families as we go home, and to help others be reminded about the truth of these teachings. Ya Allah, accept our dua. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. I stopped at verse 86. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.